Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 46 of Podcast of Five Rings, your source of enlightenment in the realm of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of Five Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and SoundCloud, and topic by topic, day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. Catch updates about the podcast or for other news, give us a follow on your social media platform of choice, listed in the description below. I'm your host, GM, and overseer of Podcast of Five Rings, Obsidian, joined tonight by the wall that will not fall, Tetsuo.
Hey everyone.
How's it going, man?
It's going.
Yeah.
busy.
Same. Yeah, it's been a long 4 days at work for me. We got the Dark Fortune Duelist meta.
Yo.
And the Resident Wildcard Mao.
Howdy.
We're all here for what is essentially our 1 year anniversary here that we've been doing this. So, not quite episode 50 yet. We still got 4 more episodes till that milestone. But it has been a year. So, congrats, guys. We're still here doing it. We're still here talking about inane stuff. So, what's everybody been up to this week?
I don't know, work.
Yeah, pretty much.
Lots and lots.
I bought a chair with back support. It's pretty nice.
Oh, nice.
My last chair did not have it.
See, my last one had the curvy back thing where it like pokes out towards the bottom
The
to get
lumbar
you to
support?
yes, to get you to sit up straighter.
Mm.
And then that chair fell apart basically from the bottom somehow. So now I'm back to old Mr. Wobbles, as I like to call him, Mr. Squeaky. Yeah.
Could be worse.
I've been getting the Mao syndrome. We're having little motivation to play video or do much of anything other than lay down when I get home. It's baseball season, so work is getting busy.
I tried to play some Skyrim, but I was trying to add some mods first, and it had been so long since I'd played, it just didn't work out. I'm gonna have to start from scratch.
You just couldn't get the mods to work?
No, like it was crashing, and I don't know why.
Oh, gotcha.
It's been like, I don't know, a year probably since I last played it.
Just can't remember how to get it going, I guess.
No. Well, yeah, and then I installed a bunch of new mods because I don't know, why not? But that was a mistake.
It's alright, Mal. We all make mistakes. You will learn someday. Well, I guess we can go ahead and get into topics then. We're going to have Tetsuo lead us off tonight, so have at it, bud. What you got?
Well, in addition to being swamped with work, was kind of helping a buddy out towards the beginning of the week, kicking around the idea of starting a sci-fi game that's rotationary. Whatever the right word that I'm trying to use is, where after every couple sessions, having it be so that the GM can switch out, maybe theoretically even switch systems, just kind of having a generic play space for small, short, monster of the week style, one-shot type deals going.
I think you might have cut out there for a little bit there, Tess.
Sorry, I was just saying that it's just like a sandbox for people to play in kind of just monster of the week style type deal. But I was making a star map for it, and like I really like sci-fi, and I'm not a big fantasy fan.
For shame.
Loving. I mean, I enjoy it. I'm just not. It's just not like my.
Yeah, I gotcha.
In the same way that sci-fi can be. And so I was thinking about it, and I was like, I really more sci-fi games, but they don't ever seem to happen. There's some systems out there, and they all have their own little niches and stuff, but and so I was kind of thinking about it, and I was like, I think part of it is that sci-fi games are a lot harder to run than fantasy games are. There's a lot of inherent I guess, differences in the genre, and as far as the general media, across the board goes, that I don't think translates as well to RPGs as fantasy does. I was curious about y'all's opinions on that. Why is it difficult? Why does it seem so difficult for people to really dive into sci-fi?
Well, I think it's probably nearly impossible to play actual hard sci-fi RPGs, just because, I mean, you'd have to try and keep everything accurate would just be a mess.
Yeah.
The actual
You have to have a
science.
really good, not good per se, but like a group that's like focused in on that.
Everybody's engineers playing.
Right. Everyone have to have like a degree in whatever the situation was.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are quite a few sci-fi RPGs around. So I guess, well, you're meaning without. I guess you're talking about without any magic, right? Because Shadowrun is sci-fi.
And that was kind of my thought process. Like the sci-fi games that do well, and this is going to get into a whole nother nerd argument that we won't really dive into, but you start seeing them venture more towards science fantasy or space opera, or all of these other things that take it further and further from, as you said, hard sci-fi. I guess there's kind of like a matrix, the way I see it anyway. You have hard and soft science, and then you have how I guess magical things can be, whether it's actual magic or just technology that's so advanced it's indistinguishable from magic.
Like in Numenera or whatever.
Right.
I think it's easier to handwave things in fantasy, just as magic or whatever. There are what is it? Eclipse Phase is a hard sci-fi.
That's a game I've never heard of.
I've heard of it. It's very interesting, I guess.
You say that in the curse form of interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it deals with transhumanism, and from what I understand, it's a topic I was going to talk about, the show Altered Carbon on Netflix. The Eclipse Phase is kind of based off of ideas that the authors got while reading the book Altered Carbon. And then when they made the Netflix series, they drew some of the things from the book, but then also pulled things from Eclipse Phase. But yeah, it's very transhumanism oriented centric. It's not.
Yeah, I think it's very. I can't remember if everyone is in like a artificial body, or it's just very easy to get them. And
I think it's a little of both.
Some of them are like like the game is very upfront with like some of them look like children and are usually for the sex industry sort of style.
Yeah, it can get weird.
Yeah.
Say that.
Well, the game is post-apocalyptic, conspiracy and horror. So the idea of being just very upfront and direct about those kind of things, I feel like helps play into the whole point of trans.
Right.
Yeah.
And then so with the fantasy side, you've also got like I mean, when you say fantasy, at least everyone usually most people go towards like elves and dwarfs and like European style fantasy, right? And which everyone kind of has there's just, and with D&D just being like so prevalent, it's like
it's probably just what most people are conditioned to.
Yeah,
like being comfortable role playing in.
Right, it's the closest thing to just like a generic base setting that people have to go to. Whereas with science fiction, you can have depending on like it could be like our world just slightly in the future. I mean, you've got like Cyberpunk 2077, and you've got space travel, time travel.
Right. There's a
all
lot more
sorts of things you could go to. Yeah, I mean, aliens.
And I think, like, too, one of the retreats that people use RPGs for is to live that kind of power fantasy, I guess, aspect
Yeah.
of RPGs.
Or maybe,
And
or fantasy is like a simpler setting with at least like technological wise,
yeah, it's easier to distill
Mhm.
down that it's your character who has these innate abilities, not your character has a gun that can do this thing because it has this drive and you have this ship and
That's the other thing is guns never. You can't get guns to feel right ever in a
yeah.
RPG setting.
I know
I would
that
think
was one of
that's
my
one of its
points.
biggest drawbacks.
Yeah, that was one of the thoughts that one of my main thoughts too was just that guns, while they can work in gaming situations, they don't work as well in RPG combat scenarios. And again, combat is one of the main reasons people come to RPGs. You have combat less, games and systems and stuff, but most people think part and parcel D&D and slashing a monster with your sword, And so yeah, guns don't work as well, especially when you could always just call in a nuke from orbit, like solve your problems there. you
Just
know,
I mean, it's the only way to be sure.
exactly.
Excessive force always required.
What do you mean your AC is too high for the rocket launcher?
Hey, I'm small. It takes a penalty when it attacks me. My AC goes up, right? It's like an orbital laser. No.
Beside the fireball.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, and I guess from my experience, because we had been playing Starfinder, and the GM was trying to make it more sci-fi than fantasy, and one of the players in the game, not me, is more into the sci-fi aspects of things. Tends to like sci-fi shows and stuff more than fantasy-esque stuff. And he was even like, you know what? It's like an RPG. I'm not sure if I really like think this is like super interesting or can like control my interests week to week. Granted, we were telling an overarching story, so it probably just depends on like the GMs and the players more than anything what they like out of role-playing games, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't really working for me, and I was trying to play a Robotech pilot, so there you go.
I mean, have
Actually,
you guys
speaking-
ever? Have you guys ever run any sort of sci-fi setting?
I have not. I'm not super big into sci-fi, so
I don't know enough people who are really into sci-fi. When I was younger, like back in high school,
in your younger and more vulnerable years.
yeah, my younger and vulnerable years. I used to roll with a group that was pretty into different things of trying for at least RPGs and whatnot. But the most sci-fi we ever got into was like mech, and that was about as far as it ever got. But I also know that the options, as silly as it sounds, the options back then and the options now, vastly different. Vast.
So yeah, even over like 10 years.
Yeah,
We've
just
got
10 years
yeah.
times. Yeah,
We have like a proliferation of role-playing games you can find anywhere.
yeah.
it's because this is back when like 3.5 like exploded. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So early 2000s or whatever.
yeah. So that was when we were goofing around with it, and then like I said, then I met up with the group and we started to do other things around that. But I mean, just 3.5 had been out, 3.0 was out. You had all these open license stuff, and then there was tons of other people who were utilizing to try to make their own things, and you had that all happen. So you kind of there really wasn't like the options for it. I know there was always a love for it though. We all liked sci-fi stuff, but I mean, as you stated before, there's just like there was the options weren't really there, and we weren't gonna obviously do our own thing. And even more, just looking at like how sci-fi is done, as Tats put earlier, it ends up being where you kind of end up pushing into sci-fi fantasy or or into space opera, because I mean space opera is honestly just easy to do because it's less about worrying about hard science and more worrying about telling a story that just happens to be in space or sci-fi. And then sci-fi fantasy, obviously you can just do stuff. I think I want to say, oh no, even that example, I was gonna say, I think the only other thing that we played was is really more sci-fi fantasies. We ended up playing a game, I don't remember the name of it for the life of me, but it was, as you stated earlier, it just ended up being a game where it was just like a different, or was it Mao? One of you two. You're so easy to confuse. We ended up playing a game where it was essentially Earth ourselves, but shifted over in a different time frame, like essentially an AU, and it ended up being invaded by this force, by this outside force, and we didn't know what it was. But everybody gained powers, but it was still running on the science of the world itself. And that's the only other example I have of like how hard we stuck to science, but there was still fantasy. There were still fantasy elements to everything. So
I've got a story to tell later that you just reminded me of a game we once played that I won't get into because it'll completely derail this topic. But remind me, I'll tell you all about it later. I almost want to tell it on the show too, but anyways.
Well, the two games that I can think of that I've really played, the first actually was Mecha versus Kaiju, if you can kind of call that sci-fi. Because again, where does Mecha fall on sci-fi? I'm doing air quotes.
Well, I mean,
you guys can't see me doing.
I mean, like there's generally two different types of mecha. You either get like Code Geass, where it starts being less about actual mechs and more about like
the
super
robots.
Yeah, super robots. And then you can get stuff like BattleTech or I mean, that's honestly probably the best one. Just a good example of where it really is just like, this is mechs and we're talking about mechs and you have sciencey mechs and that's about it.
Walking tanks.
Yeah, they're just walking tanks, and that's like that is the other end of the spectrum. So
so what's your kind of summation of plans that you guys want to do for your game?
Well, real fast, the other system, because this will plug into your question. There's another system that we came across. If you play a lot of sci-fi, you'll know of Traveler. But there was a team that was inspired by Traveler, which is a really, really hard sci-fi game in the sense that like your characters can die during character creation on the tables. It's when they call it hard sci-fi, it's one of the hardest out there, but it also kind of becomes or EVE Online, where it just becomes spreadsheets in space. You know, your traders, your truckers, your traffickers, whatever. I mean, there's more to Traveler than that, but it can kind of become.
I don't know. A game that lets me be a trucker in space sounds pretty badass.
Yeah, space truckers.
I'd rather just play Firefly.
There was a team that was inspired by that, and they wrote a Fate. Yes, I know I'm going back to Fate. They wrote a Fate splat book called Diaspora, which had a really interesting planetary creation system, and it had a very, very, very loose narrative that was connected to it. The reason why I bring it up in relation to your question is that's one of the things that they want to do for all the different systems that I had come up with in the star map, is to do the Diaspora cluster creation, system creation thing. Beyond that, I don't know how hard sci-fi he's talking. I don't know if he's planning on doing some hand-wavingness. Because again, like, I think hard sci-fi can be a bit of a spectrum. Like, at some point you can kind of just... There's some type of artificial gravity on your ship. But that's... warp drives and stuff, you know, you're starting to get softer and softer and softer. So I don't know exactly where he's planning on going with that. And I think it's also just something he's like. So.
Yeah. Hey man.
I think Mao said it best earlier on. Is that getting to truly being hard sci-fi is there's just a sense where it's impossible.
Yeah, the further you go, the harder it probably is, or more difficult. I guess.
I mean, the bigger the setting, the more you incorporate, the more like science you have to know.
Here's the other death knell to
sci-fi
it.
is hard mode.
I think here's the other death knell to hard sci-fi in general is that when you really look at it, the more science you get, the more explanation of things you get, the harder it is to really incorporate that into a fast, movable, rolling system.
Right.
And that's the other killer for it. Is you can hard science all you want every day, all day, but I mean, when you look at real hard science and you look at like all the testing and stuff you have to do, all the information knowledge that you have to have, all the things that are required to just figure something out, that would take fucking forever in a rolling system. I mean, there's no way you can truly incorporate that in a way that's going to properly capture the time and effort that back up the knowledge of hard science and still allow you to play a game at a remotely likable speed that will see progress happen.
And let everybody have fun while they're at it. Because that's the other thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, if everybody at the table has fun, like, randomly stopping the game, jumping on Wikipedia to read how this theory works, maybe it's not as hard. I don't think that's the general majority of RPG players, though.
Yeah.
The system would probably have to be pretty mechanics lot, I would imagine, too.
Yeah. And those type of stories, too, because they'd be so heavy on having to know the science, I feel like both the players and the GM would start separating themselves from the science so they don't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Or like intrigue-based, character-based, and all that stuff. And then in that case, why don't you just play it in modern day or fantasy? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
much easier to drop down to the soft science of like Star Trek or something.
Yeah.
I think you're better off if you want a game that's hard science but not actually hard science. The best thing you can do is present it like it is. Sometimes presentation is everything. Don't worry about the fact that it's not actually hard science. Just present it like it's hard science, and it's far more easy to swallow, so to speak.
And players tend to fill in the blanks a lot as well.
They
So
do.
if you present it right, they can. You don't have to have the answers because the players will have the answers.
Yeah, I mean, there's just, just give an example. Like, I know we talked about Starfinder, and when you start playing Starfinder, you're gonna realize that like, this is kind of fantasy-ish, just with lasers and shit. And yeah, that's exactly what it is. It hides it really well though, because Starfinder presents itself to be like, oh, it's very futuristic and it's got lasers and guns and stuff. But when you start to really get into it, you realize that there's just a lot of fantasy involved. It's just presented well, and I think that's a good thing until you start to really find, it's not maybe your cup of tea when you really figure out for what it is. But if you can present it as such and just find a system that seems to click, then your hard science will be sold as long as you are a good salesman.
Hard science.
And
Nobody wants soft science.
I mean, and I guess too, kind of a side comment, like when people think, sci-fi, if they're not thinking laser guns and laser swords, they're thinking space combat. They're thinking, everybody wants to be the pilot. And the people, and you're supposedly like on one ship, it's either going to be really awkward for everybody to be flying the ship, or anytime spaceship combat gets brought up, it's one person and one person only doing things. And that's not fun.
Yeah. That's what we ran into. Something with Starfinder.
Yeah, like, if you want starship combat, pick up a miniature game or, Star Wars Armada or whatever.
I was actually thinking that. I feel like Starship Combat really should come down to that. Really feels like in and of itself, it's almost like its own game. I don't know of any game personally, and not to say that I have experience on sci-fi games, because I don't. But that was something I also noticed too when I was going through the instructions, like to just go back to Starfinder. It's just an easy one to pick on. That was, as obviously that was something just very easy to notice right off the bat, is that it really does feel like certain people have a far larger impact on what's going on as opposed to some other people. And there's just a point where it almost feels like maybe we should just make it a mini game in and of itself and just give everybody like things that they can do on their turn.
Yeah. Or have like, everybody make their stuff, everybody has like, you're on shields, you're on guns, you're on piloting, everybody does their things, and then
Well, yeah, I mean that's what Starfinder does.
Yeah.
I haven't
it does
fully
do that.
looked at all of that, so
Starfinder does do that. But
Yeah,
also-
it's like piloting check.
Yep.
And then you've got gunners, and the captain can kind of boost to wherever, and then you've got engineer who can repair stuff.
Yep.
Or just give everyone a fighter.
Yeah.
Fighters are fun.
Yeah.
But then you only have like one guy who's the pilot, and then you have the random botanist that you've thrown into a fighter jet, and
The random botanist.
you know what I mean? Like the
Hey,
character.
if he's
who's
got
playing,
ranks
like,
in pilot, he's good.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Yeah, but if he doesn't,
What's
you know,
this
like,
button
he's
do?
a
Click.
lore character.
Yeah, he can use his pilot ranks to attack stuff.
Oh.
But yeah.
One game and Mao actually mentioned it. One game that I'd love to take a look at is Firefly, because from what I understand, that does a pretty good job. But it again does the whole. It's sort of hard sci. I mean, Firefly. It's sort of hard sci-fi,
No,
but it's
that's
not.
soft sci-fi.
Right. It's they do the good job of putting the veneer of hard over soft. Like it's easier to
It's in the
ignore.
soft science Wikipedia section.
Yeah. Easier to ignore like the soft sci-fi bits than say in like Star Wars or something.
Yeah, you can't really call Star Wars sci-fi at all, honestly.
Yeah.
not
It's
really.
fantasy space paint.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's my
Very
favorite
much so.
analogy. So
Which is okay in and of itself. If
Yeah.
that's whenever you're looking for sci-fi, that's actually what you're looking for. Hey, it's no issue. But and that's why I said, what defines sci-fi can be a whole topic in and of itself. But
and I have no answer for you there. So
yeah.
but yeah, it sounds like it's a broad spectrum of different stuff. Just based on the hard and soft terminology.
And I think too, one of the other big things is that as a literary genre where it started, like sci-fi was always a way to explore a culture or a person's like possible futures if they pursue certain philosophies, whatever what's the other term? Speculative fiction. Like it was always a way for you to explore different ideas within the confines of a structured like story. And I feel like that's still harder to do in RPGs because everybody brings to the table what they want to play. Like you bring your
Yeah,
character.
it's all in the present and stuff. And
Right, and it's harder
now-
to do that speculation. I don't know. There's a lot there.
Sounds like you'll have a lot of systems you need to port through, probably,
Yeah.
to find one that
Yeah,
fits what you want.
The three biggest that we've been looking at is Stars Without Number, Traveler, and Diaspora. But I don't know if we'll find something else.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Fate's pretty neat. It is pretty nice in the sense that you can do the whole soft sci-fi, but putting a layer of paint over it, so that way it's easily hidden as hard or sci-fi with the
Yeah.
way aspects are handled.
And it's
everything.
mechanics
But-
lot-ish, so
Right, exactly. The more mechanics you bring in, the more you have to really know the difference.
yeah.
What point should damage level step up because you're going faster in free fall and blah 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 and C factor blah 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 blah.
Just getting a shot with a laser just kill you.
Or does it cauterize the wound?
Okay.
Anyway.
Alright. Let's get on to Meta's topic, or should I call him Isawa-sama?
Yeah.
What
I'll
you
try
got,
to
Meta?
sound more excited. I'm just gonna look at Disciples of the Void. It's the new Phoenix Clan pack, which is supposed to be part of all the new clan packs that are coming out for the
It's
new
the 7th pack.
LCG.
is this just the normal little pack, right? Not one of the big boxes.
No, it's not a big box. It's only like 28
Oh, okay.
cards. So the Disciples of the Void is essentially a clan pack. They're going to be doing clan packs for all the clans, which will be falling into a theme to better represent what that clan is and to better enhance those themes, which, to be fair, some of the clans are desperately lacking currently.
Unicorn.
Yeah, Unicorn.
Phoenix are even a bit spread out, right?
Yeah, Phoenix are very spread out. They're all over the place, and I don't know why. It felt like we should have
Crane
started
are a
with just-
bit all over the place too.
Crane are split. Yeah, Crane are split between military, political, dueling. They don't know what they want to be really. But so they're trying to do it with this, and I would assume, and as with everything I'm going to do in life, generally will be an assumption. And I'm assuming that with the way that the interview went with Brad Andres, who is the designer, or at least one of the designers for the game itself, they kind of went into explaining like what exactly these clan packs are, and as stated before, they are to better give a theme and identity to the clan while sticking to the mechanics that they want them to stick to. In the Phoenix's case, that would generally be revolving around the rings and of themselves. So specifically, this pack is going to be focusing on spells because that is kind of iconic for fucking Phoenix. They're the spellcaster clan.
Are they?
It's their thing.
It's their thing. It's their theme, if you will.
I never would have guessed.
I know, right? Who would have thought? I'm gonna just get out some of the information out of the way right now. The Phoenix Clan pack is said to be launching on April 5th or 15th. I can't remember one of the two.
I believe.
5th.
Thank you. Yes, 5th. There it is.
Really
it will
soon.
be coming very soon. It will be
Pre-order
coming.
today.
You can actually. It is coming with the first new stronghold, Kyuden Isawa,
Which is cool.
Which is actually cool. I'm glad.
Does
that
it
they're
have
coming out.
different stats?
Yes, it has different stats on it. We'll get into that when we get to the cards, but overall, that is one of the new cool things they are. The pack as well, while it is focusing heavily around the Phoenix, also has cards for the other clans as well. I believe it's just going to be one card for each one and 3 copies of it. But from what I'm seeing, that seems to be the case.
How many cards per pack? Not including duplicates. Just is it
28 divided
28?
by 3 would be 9.
9? Oh,
That can't be right.
no.
No, there's more than that, I think.
20. Yeah, it says 28 unique cards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
there's
it is
28 different cards.
With
That's a big pack.
Okay, that's a big pack. Yeah. All right, then that makes more sense. I'm like, that makes.
I think
no
it
sense
has
for
some. I think it has like one card for each clan at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then probably at least a neutral as well.
Probably. So let's get into the cards. I'm not gonna actually go in the order of the of the article itself because I feel like certain ones are warranting a little bit more focus than other ones. The big one I kind of want to get out of the way first is actually a new support card. It is specifically support of the Phoenix. This increases your deck building influence value by 8. However, you can only spend influence on Phoenix Clan card.
Oh.
Yeah, it's actually an interesting card. I didn't actually expect this kind of card at all, but apparently if you rock with this card, it will let you essentially utilize the Phoenix's huge benefit.
So
but,
you would put it in some
Even
your
more.
other or
Yep. You would put it in your deck, and then you would just pull it from that.
I don't think they've
Um,
explained exactly how it works yet.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
is it
because-
I think it's out of deck because
Yeah,
you wouldn't
it's,
shuffle it in. Does it
Right.
take place of your roll? Is it like roll where there's a meta game involved, and that's how you
See,
pick
like-
who has this?
It's kind of weird though as well because it states that you may only spend the influence on Phoenix Clan cards, but like normally you can only splash one other clan. So
I imagine it'll be used in like other people's decks. Like a lion would use this and get more Phoenix allies.
I think that's really what
Yeah,
it's there
it
for.
it does feel weirdly redundant.
Yeah, but so I'm hoping they'll explain a little bit more on that. But it is interesting what they are going for, so I want to at least give them props there, even if it makes no gotcha.
Yeah, I think from the sounds of it, I would guess it would take the place of a roll
Possibly. I don't know what role you'd be taking the place of though.
instead of the keeper or the
Yeah,
whatever.
the keeper is
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're instead of taking this,
you would
yeah.
replace it with that instead.
Yeah, I could see that. That'd be interesting. Next card I will talk about is now Kyuden Isawa because I feel like it's the other card that really warrants some attention. Starting honor, fate point generation, and influence are the same. They have not changed, which kind of is depressing.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I can understand why they did it. They still haven't.
I don't
I
think
wouldn't
Fate's
really
ever going to
expect
change.
Fate to really change.
Based just on their design philosophy, I don't expect it to ever change.
I don't know why. It's almost then. But it beggars the question. Then why even bother putting it on the card if it's just always the same all the time?
Yeah,
It
or
gives
a
them the
plus
option to later. But
Yeah.
So yeah.
like
Watch
if they come
Mantis
up
will
with
have
a
8.
Yeah.
yeah.
Kyuda Nasawa is a +1 stronghold. It is a library and palace for keywords, which really don't mean much. Action is during a conflict you can battle a stronghold. You play a spell event from your conflict discard pile as if it were in your hand, but then you remove that event from the game. It's actually
Gives
pretty
them
cool.
flashback.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can
baby.
see flashback. It's actually a pretty damn good card.
Yeah.
I actually think that's a very potent card personally. The ability just to play a card that you've already played in case you don't have it in your hand.
Just more resources. Turning your graveyard into a resource is pretty much always a good thing.
Yep.
Well, there's already just good spells in the game too,
Right.
like the blank one and
Being able to recur them.
yeah, exactly.
Against the waves, I think is another good one. It lets you just immediately straighten of spellcaster as well. So I might be misremembering names. I don't actually know the Phoenix all that well, even though Lily plays them. Next card we're going to look at is Fushicho. We actually have seen this card already before, but it is the Phoenix in and of itself as far as...
It's also the first 6 fate cost character.
Yes, it's also the first card that has the devil's numbers on it. So,
I'm
six,
looking
baby.
at it now. It's just 666 straight down.
666.
The number of Phoenix.
That's right. Turns out he's evil.
They're hinting that they're going to still keep with the Maho theme. That's what they're doing.
Yep. So it is the first spirit. It is the first, not the first creature, but I believe it's essentially also the first mythic.
Ooh.
I mean, we've seen this before. It's a 666. It is no attachments, interrupts when this character leaves play. Choose a Phoenix character in your Dynasty discard pile. Put that character into play with 1 fate on it.
Yeah, it's good.
You essentially, quite literally, reborn from the ashes
and get some value.
Yep. It's actually not a bad card. It's just that investment
When
is
its
rough.
when its ability triggers, is it in the graveyard? Can
When,
it choose itself?
no, when this is leaving play, but not when it's.
I think it's while it's leaving play. Basically, is when it happens.
when this card leaves play, when this
Right.
character leaves play, choose a Phoenix card in your Dynasty card pile.
Yeah.
So it's
I was
during.
wondering
It's in the.
because if that was on a magic card, it would count.
Yeah,
itself.
it could trigger itself.
Which I don't. I think that they don't want to do that. Otherwise, you literally.
I mean,
just
it is a Phoenix though, so it kind of would make sense.
Put 2 in your deck. Put 2 in
Right.
your deck.
It's a slower spirit caller, basically.
Oh,
Kind of a little worse,
whoa.
honestly, but
I just noticed the little things down there are not like rocks, but people.
Yes, those are people.
yeah, it's a reused art from
He's a biggin.
AG era.
He's a big bird. They fed him some really good food when he was a chick. He's grown big and tall. I actually don't. You're not wrong though, Mal, because technically, if you have 2 of these or more in your deck and 2 of them are in your at least 1 is in your
Right.
discard pile, yeah, you could potentially do that.
You can't get rid of them.
Yeah,
Because there's no exiling, right, in this game?
not that I know of.
There's removed from the game. And there's
Oh,
no
okay,
like
there is.
specific keyword though.
Right.
Like the Stronghold removes the spell from the game after you cast it.
Oh, right, yeah.
So,
But there's no like removal that does that.
No.
not that I'm aware of. I think it might have been like, and I don't know why they didn't do this. Maybe they meant it to be that you could just keep putting the fucking Phoenix out there. But if they didn't, I really wish they put a line in saying choose any Phoenix character card in your Dynasty card pile that is not a Fushicho.
Yeah.
And put that character into play.
How does that? Does that interfere at all with? Is it unique?
It is unique.
Yeah.
Yes, it
So
is
does
unique.
that interfere at all with that? Also,
I would think so, but it says when this character leaves play, so it means it has to leave play first. But before it's in the Dynasty discard pile, you choose another one and put it into play.
That makes
So then,
sense.
technically, as far as I'm understanding it, because to me it's like
that
it's a
seems like the
three-step
simple
process.
ruling.
Right.
That makes
Depends
sense.
on the triggering of a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not up
so
to snuff on my L5R timing rules. So.
I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to look it up to verify that. But from what I understand, I mean, it's already left play because it has to leave play for it to trigger its effect.
Yeah.
Well, if it's already left play, then it's sitting in your discard pile.
Well, it's in the transition. You see, you die.
It's
You're
the
in the state
nebulous
of
void.
living, dying, and then dead, and it's in the dying state.
Mez just shooting rolls off at the hip here.
I don't know. We could be completely
Yeah.
wrong.
Who knows?
So, who knows? It's fun to speculate. Next is up is Clarity of Purpose. This is a spell, and it's a water. It's a 1-cost event. During a conflict, as an action, you can choose a character you control. Until the end of that conflict, opponents' cards effects cannot bow that character, and it does not bow as a result of conflict resolution during political conflict.
Yeah, that's the really strong one that everyone was excited for.
Everybody's excited for, but ironically, actually no, I'm sorry. I think Phoenix actually do better in the political world than they do in the military
they do.
one. Yeah, so this is actually a really good card for them. Congrats, Phoenix. You just became even greater.
Which one was this?
Clarity of Purpose.
So it can be triggered by the stronghold.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah, it's strong.
Yeah, it's very strong.
Some of the better abilities in the game, as we've seen, are stuff that lets you use
Yeah.
characters multiple times in one turn.
Yep.
It's done in that art style I like.
Yeah.
Without hard lines.
Yeah. After that is Katana Fire. This is another one that we have actually seen before in the past.
Staple from 4th edition
yes.
RPG.
It's a very good spell.
It's always been a good spell.
It's a I actually think there's other spells that are better as it comes from the weapon ones, but that's a different story. It is a 1-cost attachment.
Not be
Liar.
I will not stray from the
I
path.
challenge you to a duel, sir.
With Katanas of Fire?
With Katanas of Fire.
No, with these weird honor
Tetsubos of
duel
Earth.
dials.
With these honor dials. Hold a second. Obs, I
bet one, you win.
I bet one as well.
Oh, well, crap. Well, neither of us have political
That-
or military
we
stats,
don't.
so
We don't. Yeah, it sucks. Well,
I guess
we do
it's a tie. We both lose. Armor strike.
Sudoku. We Sudoku on the spot.
All right.
It is a 1-cost attachment, +0 military, +0 political, but because all that stuff comes from its abilities, because it is a spell, fire, and weapon. Who would have guessed with Katana Fire? You can play only if you control a Shugenja character. It's also restricted. Only one. Attached characters get +1 military for each fire card you control. So I assume that means every fire card that's already out on the field, which I guess technically would count itself.
It does.
And then the attached character gets +2 military while the fire ring is in your claimed ring pool, which is really the
Good
most
for
important
Phoenix.
one. Yeah, that's really.
It's one of the ones Phoenix always go after.
Yep.
And they have ways to manipulate that also if they
Yep.
don't have it.
Yep. It's a good card. It's an
Yeah, it's
incredibly
strong.
good card. And it's very clearly really going to be only meant for the Phoenix, just because there's so few
It's
Shugenja.
screaming, "Let go of me! Let go of me!"
Yep.
That's
it
why
is.
when it gets let go, to use Cuteness All on it.
Yeah, Cuteness I would also work on it. So.
Is it an event?
I
Oh
don't-
no, it's attachment.
Oh, it's
only
not.
spell
You're right.
event.
It's an attachment. I was.
Dang it, Mal!
Yeah, Mao,
You
come with the
cheeky
technicality.
bastard!
Telling us this.
How dare you spoil my illegal fund?
All right. Well, it can't be done that way, but I guess that's for the better anyway, because it would have been really powerful.
Yeah.
All right. So next card up is Favor of the Kami. It is a 0-cost attachment. It gives no bonuses, and the condition is the attached character gets +1 glory.
Oh,
So it's pretty good if you want to get that Imperial Favor, on your side and whatnot. Just don't buy your characters, and then get the end, and bam, glory.
You can also attach it to other people's characters, can't you?
Yes.
So there you go.
I mean, you
If
can attach it
they're
wherever you want.
dishonored, you can further nerf them.
Yep, you can further nerf them. It's pretty neat. There's not much else to say about it. It does have a cool quote. Like air, invisible. Like water, formless. Like earth, unchanging. Like fire, powerful. Isawa's elements. So that's pretty cool. Next card we're going to look at is the Fire Elemental Guard, which is actually a pretty cool character. It is a 4 cost, and ironically, it is a 4 military, 2 political. Shugenja, Fire, and Army. They cannot have any attachments except spells, so Fire Katana, here we go. The action is during a conflict in which you have played 3 or more spell cards, choose an attachment, discard that attachment. It's kind of costly and investment.
Yeah.
Is what I'm thinking right there. But, I mean, in and of itself, it is a way for you to forcefully discard an attachment from somebody just by burning through your hand a little bit. So
I have the spells too. Granted, it's easier with Gunasaw, but still.
Yeah, with cheap.
There are lots of good cards that are not spells that everyone runs.
Right.
Yep. Well, we'll see how that changes with this. So
yeah, eventually you should be able to run all spells practically.
It'll probably be better later on.
Yeah. So I mean, we've seen only a few parts of these, so it kind of bites in a little bit. Next card we're gonna look at is the Secluded Shrine. It is a holding that gives +0. It's a shrine for its for its keyword. Who would have thought? Reaction: after the conflict phase begins, choose a ring. Until the end of the phase, you are considered to have that ring in your claimed ring pool. Katana of Fire, here we come.
Right.
So
this is probably my favorite piece of art. I just want to go there and chill out.
I like
you'd be
Tadaka.
secluded. You would be secluded, Mal. You'd be able to just relax to your heart's
It
content.
looks so relaxing.
It does actually. It's a very nice path. It's actually good art. I like it. I mean, there's not much to say about the card. I think it's okay.
I mean, more ring shenanigans.
Yeah. Yep. Next card we're gonna look at is also, I think, the last card we're gonna be looking at here. Is
the one I just mentioned.
Wait, which one did you just mention?
No, I don't think they showed Tadaka yet.
Well, I can see most of his art. I can't see his ability.
Yeah,
so.
you can see his stats.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really want to cover him because I can't say much about him.
Right.
But there is Togashi Tadakatsu, and he is a monk and a heretic. So if you are for the Emperor of Mankind Warhammer 40k fans, he is the kind of guy you need to purge. He is.
He's probably in that sect they were talking about.
Yes, he is.
Perfect land.
He has actually the dragon card as well. Yes, he's a unique character. He is a 4 cost, a 4/3. He has 0 glory, and the defending player chooses the element, but not the type, during each conflict declared against him or her. This choice is made before the conflict type, attacking characters, and the attacked province are chosen.
Yeah, because dragon need that.
Yep. So, it's actually pretty nice, because you just essentially give the bird to whatever they want to decide, or at least force them to play a card that could swap it around if they have something like that. He's potent. He's strong. I mean, he's a 4/4/4/3. So, I don't know. Seems okay to me personally, but I don't know if you guys got thoughts. I'm gonna take that as a no.
I want to see more of the cards.
Too bad, Obs.
Gotta wait till 4 or 5, or another article comes out eventually.
Yep. There's more cards.
Yeah, if it's coming out the 5th, we'll probably get it in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
The full.
Yeah.
Yep. There is a few more cards on there. There's the Inquisitive, Ishika, the Pacifist, Philosopher, but unfortunately, can't see them. I get to see some of them.
They're peeking out.
They're peeking out in the on what they're showing. So unfortunately, they're hiding from us. Those jerks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for Phoenix. It seems like they're getting more tools and stuff to use, and I guess more when we find out how the potential, what I'm assuming is the roll card, is going to work.
Yeah,
they'll give other clans more stuff to splash, because splashing the 2 costs, just switch the ring when you lose the conflict or whatever card, I can't remember the name of it, is it seems pretty solid. being able to run 3 of those. And
There's some pretty potent cards.
yeah, so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it skews the environment too, just for there being more Phoenix cards than any other clan when the pack comes out. And Phoenix aren't doing like super well as far as I know, so
It's hard to tell because there's so few areas that can give like full on reports of stuff.
yeah.
But like as far as we're aware, Scorpion is still the love to be splashed.
Yeah, and the kings of the mountain right now.
Yeah,
in general,
they're just strong.
Scorpion too good. Please nerf.
Ukraine had a strong showing in France. They just couldn't clutch it out.
Oh,
There's just not a lot of like. It goes really back to. I think what really comes down to is that right now, Scorpion are just pretty potent. They've got their theme under play. They play it well and they do it hard and fast, and that's really hard to beat sometimes.
Yeah, and it's just hard to screw them over on honor and dishonor them. So,
yep,
because they're box. But yeah, no, I'm more excited to see some of the other clan packs, to be honest with you, and just see how they expand the themes and what the designers, I guess, kind of roll with here. So I don't know who we'll get next.
We'll
I don't
see.
know. Yep, we will.
Unicorn. Hopefully, I guess.
Unicron.
I do hope it's Unicorn, actually, to be honest with you. They just need more cavalry cards. I want to see more people playing them. So
I don't know if cavalry cards are gonna solve their problem.
no, it won't particularly, but I'm sure they can give them more stuff to like interact with cavalry and just more tools in general.
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
Yep.
It's hard to tell right now.
Yeah, and I'll be curious if, since this comes out in April, will the next pack be May? I guess that's kind of like what their initial plan was. Now that we're past the whole explosion from the beginning of the game release, so.
Yep.
All right, Mal, what you got for us?
I've got Monster Hunter.
Oh, it's Kaju.
First big update.
It costs money, right?
Yeah, tons of
22nd.
money.
Nope.
$20.
Tons of money. No, don't lie to us, Mal. It's at least $50.
It's like Final Fantasy 15. I'm spending like $120 to play the whole game.
Or you could wait like 3 or 4 years and you'll get the deluxe edition that has it all.
For $150.
Anyway, well, actually, I guess before that, they had a live stream that showed off the whole new update. But before that, a few days before, they had also showed off Devil May Cry tie-in, which now you can get armor to look like Dante from.
You can run around as Ryu and Dante. I'm basically playing Marvel vs. Capcom.
Meta scene. I think Meta's happy with that.
I'm happy with a lot of things that are coming. So.
I mean, you get to what is it? I don't actually know if it's armor or a skin to look like him. But then he's got a charge blade for a sword.
I really hope it is just glamour that you can like slap onto yourself and just wear over everything, because I'd wear the shit out of that. I will just, that's like the armor I would just use all the time.
Right.
Screw everything else.
And then they've got the paid emote, which is what they did for Street Fighter as well.
I'm
the guns.
Dumping all my money on this.
But I think the other stuff is free. It seems like they're just kind of doing pay for the emote thing, whereas the other stuff is free, which is pretty cool.
Okay, I never use emotes anyway.
Yeah. And then we've got Mega Man, and the Mega Man pack is coming out the 13th for Palicos. But
Wait, for next month, 13th?
Sorry, yeah, April 13th.
Jeebus.
Boy. Yeah, it's just called the Palico pack though, so I'm a little sad because I really wanted
you wanted to be Mega Man.
Well, I wanted the light bowgun arm cannon.
Oh, that would be actually
from
pretty
previous.
Cool. So you could shoot your Mega Blaster, right?
Lemons. He wants to shoot lemons.
Yeah.
Yeah, lemons.
Lemons just killed Mao. He can't.
I was
handle
gonna
it.
say,
He doesn't.
what
lock
happened
them.
there?
He doesn't lock them. To be fair,
I don't know what you're referencing. Also, I hate lemons.
Mega Man. His little bullets look like lemons.
Yeah,
I
They look
gotcha.
like little lemons.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm just gonna let them do their thing, and then you guys stopped, and I was
Mao's just like they're just all insane.
I was like, I
100% thought that my internet had dropped, and I was
I
like,
actually-
disconnected.
I actually had thought my Discord had frozen at that point.
Yeah, I was
So
checking to
like-
make sure as well, man.
no, don't talk. Just check all the settings.
Well, I mean,
Uh.
you guys might be able to hear me. Like, Mom might be talking about something great. I'd be like, guys, can you hear me?
Anyway, on to the live stream showing off the March 22nd update. Which is where the pickle Devil Joe comes. They're dropping off a new monster for us.
Yay.
He's a big one.
Yay.
I guess he's similar to Anjanath. I mean, he predates Anjanath. He's from previous games, but he's like a T-Rex, just bulkier and green.
And likes to beat you with other creatures in its
Yes, he can use Jagris's the Ku Alu Yaku as weapons, as throwing them at you.
That's amazing.
In previous games,
What?
if you sever his tail and you don't go and harvest it, there's a chance he'll eat it and regain health. Yeah, so Devil
He's
Joe's
on
fun.
tail. My God,
he
that's
was
amazing.
he was in the previous games. He had the role of Bagelgeist.
Yeah.
Basilgeist. He would show up and just ruin your day whenever you're hunting something else.
I don't know. I know he's got history, but the memes I've seen for Bagel Goose and being a B-52 bomber,
Yeah,
I've fallen in love with him. I've fallen in love with him.
Well, I mean, you have Devil Joe, who's the pickle, and you have Bagel Goose, so now we have a bagel and a pickle.
A pickle
Yeah,
bagel.
there was the one about how did the Devil Joe get to the new world, and it was him writing on a Basilgeist.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
It's amazing.
They also confirmed that there will be armor for him, Alpha, Beta, and then 14 weapons and Palico gear. I just threw in the Discord at least what one of the armor sets are.
I do like the armor
Oh,
set.
sweet.
Is
God,
that,
The one with the
is that
claws.
dual blades or?
I assume they're dual blades. I would think they'd have to be,
Yeah, and I
Those
love
have to be
it
dual blades,
so
yeah.
much.
because the Nergigante final are like claws.
Yes.
Dual
Right,
blades.
exactly.
Those things look awesome.
Yeah. I think I'm hoping that we'll just keep getting more and more monsters. That'd be great. Starting with this guy.
Now, is it just Devil Joe, or is it going to be some of the Devil Joe derivatives? Do we know?
They only mentioned him. The whatever the demonic looking one or whatever is from a G rank thing, I think. So he probably
Oh,
won't
that's
be in
right. That's true.
it. Yeah. They also went and decided to buff basically all the Blade Master weapons, which is all the melee weapons. The only thing I think they slightly nerfed was the Charge Blade's Ultra Burst, and then the Charge Blade also got some other buffs. But yeah, pretty much.
They charged its ability to stun if you're using an impact file.
Yeah.
So.
Which is then they also fixed some bugs on the bow, and the blowguns are perfect and have remained untouched.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which I mean, they were actually, I guess, emergency patched.
All it's
a
copacetic.
while ago. Or,
With the piercing ammo.
the slicing.
Or slicing,
Yeah, it was just too strong. But which it's interesting because they've never like done this sort of thing because they're always on the handhelds and stuff. So it's interesting to see them trying with the rolling out patches and like buffing, like or in debuffing the weapons as we play. it's just a PV, like it's not even a PvP game, but they're still like trying to maintain weapon balance.
Which is nice. I mean, because as it is, they're supposed to be doing kind of a rolling updates with monsters and stuff. So it's nice to see that they're looking at weapon tweaks to do with them, at least here early on. They've actually already
said that we're getting the second content update in April. So
oh, really?
It'd be interesting to see if we get like they change every month. If we get like a monster and some changes, would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we'll have to wait till April to see if we get a new monster. I don't know. I really want the Mitsuzune from Generations, one of the flagships. It's a bubble. It's like Serpentine Dragon with bubbles, but
it's a bubble dragon.
Yeah, I just want it because its armor looks like kind of samurai.
Well, and it also like does an opposite of water blight, where it like.
Oh yeah, it's also another water monster, which is kind of needed in the game. There's only one in low rank, basically.
Slip around, so that's kind of interesting.
Okay, now that truck guy's gone, I can talk again. Sorry.
And Mitsuzune would be cool. I'm still holding out for or Barryoth. I would love to see one of those two in World, but
oh yeah, I mean they've got plenty of
sweet,
monsters.
Dude.
Yeah, that's the Mitsuzune armor.
I want it. I want it.
That's basically why I want the monster.
I want it. They look like little priestly robes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The one on the left.
But yeah, they've got. I mean, almost all like so many of the monsters in the games are like new, so they have so many monsters they could add.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is good for like old time fans and stuff.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have been wanting G rank, and they think that they'll do it as a DLC instead of a whole new game like they usually do.
Yeah, well, and usually they do it as like a whole new game just because, I mean, they're cartridge. It's not like on handhelds it's as easy to give, I guess, huge DLCs. I was reading somewhere they were talking about that. So in this case,
maybe
it should be more accessible for them to do it, I guess, for lack of a better way of describing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're going to have seasonal events. We have the Spring Blossom Festival for April 6th to the 19th, which the Gathering Hub will be
the soccer festival, basically.
No. The Gathering Hub will get all sorts of flowers and fireworks and a giant Poogie statue.
Pookie.
Get 2 lucky vouchers during each duration, and new music in the city. But also, all event quests will be available during the festival. So, I mean, if they keep up with the seasonal events or something, it'll be nice to like bring back old quests.
Yeah.
And then it also looks like they're adding the Nahabra armor, which is a fan favorite because like the male looks like a tuxedo, and the female like also fancy. But yeah, the NPCs are wearing it, so everyone's like, they've got to make it available.
Yeah,
for
I'm
us
sure
too,
they
right?
will. And as you said, this is all the free stuff, right?
Yeah, this is all free.
Yeah, it's a lot of content.
They're also doing 6 or so new emotes, like a dance troupe, and possibly with fireworks and stuff that will be paid.
Yeah,
but they're adding in free they're adding 2 hairstyles that can be seen on NPCs that you can't get, but they're just adding them for free. And they also showed off the weapon contest rocket greatsword. It's called Wyvern Ignition. That someone created, someone from the community created, and now they finally showed it off. It looks pretty cool. I mean, I don't play the greatswords, but this one looks pretty sweet.
Link it.
I'm.
Because that's my weapon.
It's got a literal rocket on it.
Good
Oh, wow.
God.
Your
That's
boy coming in with a rocket sword.
Rocket sword.
Give it. You can just have the strongest of running overheads.
Yes.
Exactly. Oh, that's your thing.
Mao already trying to capitalize.
Now,
on how to get the
I
best
would,
one
I
in
would
the
never
event.
steal your stick.
And then they also are adding re-customization for your characters, including the gender.
yeah.
You just get to redo your character. It's a ticket-based system, though. The first one's free, but you got to pay for the rest.
Is it
You
that
pay.
kind of a ticket, or is it like the other tickets that you can find in the game randomly?
It says it will function on a ticket system, and the first one is free.
You just
Right,
have
so
to
I was
find the
wondering if-
golden ticket.
You just
Well,
Tickets
right,
only
it's
apply to one
bottom.
character in the account. Well, yeah, it's. I think it's done before you would launch the game, so I don't know how you would find. I don't think it would be based on what you find in the game.
Got to buy those
you-
candy bars.
You just can't change your name is the thing. So
It's
it's like
a recurring thing with PlayStation stuff, right?
Well, yes. But yeah, I mean, and we're getting more in April, and hopefully it will be this much stuff as well. Then I really need to play the game more.
Yeah.
You.
Well, yeah, I'm not as bad as you,
I
Still
don't
in
think I
low
played
rank.
it in like a month.
right?
I feel like at some point we should do that for a stream.
Oh, we will. for
Maybe when
sure.
y'all get done with your
With our Pokemans.
yeah.
Pokemons.
Soon,
Hey, we're more than halfway done now.
yeah.
I just grinded off stream for like 3.5 hours the other day. Prepare for the Elite Four. Oh, so is that it
That's
for all
it.
the updates?
Yep.
What I mean, that's cool. That I'm wondering what the paid content will be like if they do an actual
I
like
have no
big
idea. They
DLC pack. Like how much will be in it, considering how much free
Be
stuff
honest,
we're getting.
Beyond G rank, I don't really see them doing much
Yeah.
paid DLC because they've always done it where they would every so often introduce new monsters through free DLC. That's just something they've
Yeah.
always done.
But with how successful the game has sold, would
Oh,
it
yeah,
be
they announced
unwise
it's-
just to not do some,
True.
even for
They
like
announced
a
it's,
$5 one?
Was it? I guess a little while ago they announced like it was Capcom's fastest selling game ever,
Yeah.
and then just a few weeks ago they announced it's Capcom's best selling game ever. So it's popular. I can see it hasn't even been released on the PC yet,
No.
so I could definitely see them wanting to tap into more revenue. But I don't know. I mean, if they release something, I would hope it would be G rank first. I mean, they could do just a non G rank dump of a bunch of monsters at once, like maybe
Yeah.
10 or something. I mean, because the base game came with like 20, so like
I
half
don't know.
that.
This is my first monster rodeo, so
Yeah.
I see it being hard for them to do monsters on a paid DLC basis, though, if only because you drop in, drop out, and there's somebody there with armor. How are they going to handle the SOS system? I don't know. It just
Nah, I mean, other
I could see
games have
working,
done it before.
guess,
I could maybe
but-
see them doing like different game modes or something. Maybe
maybe
I don't know what it would be.
Right.
I could see
Yeah.
them doing new arena stuff with it. I guess that could be interesting.
Maybe just more
Uh,
quests.
challenges, and stuff like that.
I don't know.
I mean, like in Destiny, if you didn't have the DLC, you could still see other people's armor and stuff. You just couldn't go do
Maybe
those
they'll come up
things.
with a new weapon.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Don't want them to come up with a new weapon. Like, as much as I like variation, like, I'm worried we're at the point of hitting the tipping scale into the silly and ridiculous. Like, we kind of already are. I fully recognize that. My charge blade that I
man.
love so much is very
Give me a
ridiculous.
Bloodborne crossover. I want all the. I want like
Mal wants a whip sword.
yeah, or something.
Whip sword would be cool. It's a game
Yeah, I
about
don't know
hunting
what kind of
monsters. You gotta
weapon
have
they
a
would
whip.
do.
Shoot, we don't have any, like, flexible weapon style weapons, do we?
I don't know what you would add as a weapon. You got pretty good coverage.
Maybe something that's more of a spear and less of a lance.
Yeah, I mean you've got the insect glaive.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But we could use more pole arms though.
Yeah.
Something like on something on chains, I guess.
Pistols maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dual pistols. Why not? I mean, there's sillier things have been done.
They're adding dual pistols in the form of an emote.
Well, there you go. They've already done half of the animation work.
Right.
Now they just have to design all the weapons.
If we're going off of that, then we just need totally key weaponry after Hadouken.
Right. I mean, I assume this will do very little damage, like the Hadouken. So we will soon see people killing monsters with just the dual pistols.
Pew 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 pew.
Take I don't know,
it will be my goal to
but...
kill all my creatures with that dual pistol emote.
Oh god. It'll do 6 damage.
Yes. I'm still gonna do
Matt
it.
is working out all the math in his head.
All the maths. If I get affinity up to 100%, and then I add the weakness multiplier.
Oh my god, do 10 damage. My pistol emote. Oh baby.
Oh baby. If it hits 4 times.
And then I just running overhead from Mao.
Yeah,
Right.
he just snobs it. He just snobs it last minute.
Level 3 charge hit.
Boom. Pistols out of here. Okay. Let's get on to my topic. So last night, kind of out of nowhere, the internet kind of blew up, which I woke up to this news this morning. Out of nowhere, a really probably the biggest Twitch streamer around, if you just want to go by subscriber count, especially now.
Ninja?
Ninja was streaming Fortnite and ended up playing with the rapper Drake, and not just Drake, but also
his party.
Yeah, not only Drake, but the rapper Travis Scott, and the wide receiver for the Steelers, Juju Smith-Schuster, also playing, just from tweeting out at him and stuff. So it kind of took my Twitter feed by storm, at least this morning. All the big game outlets were writing about it. Everybody, all the Twitch streamers I follow were tweeting about it and stuff.
The internet was a tizzy.
Yeah, it was. I think he got up over 600,000 viewers at one point.
Yeah,
which set a record. I
believe he broke the record.
Yeah. He also gained 10,000 subscriptions.
Oh god!
In the course of the night, which said it made at least $25,000 just off his subscribers alone, just from playing with Drake and them. That doesn't count his donations and stuff that he was getting, which he had turned off the whole stream.
Oh wow!
So now people are kind of asking the Fortnite devs to put in a hotline bling emote and stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw that.
And some other stuff. I'm sure they'll work memes in the game. They want Twitch to make some emotes for some global emotes and stuff, commemorating the event in a way. So I mean, this isn't the first time celebs have streamed on Twitch. I mean, he wasn't really streaming. He was more just playing with Ninja. But
yeah, he wasn't even the one streaming. He was just in his party talking to him.
Yeah, and he
stuff.
tweeted out to however many followers that Drake has on Twitter. Yo, I'm playing Fortnite with Ninja here. Come watch. And it just kind of blew up. So everyone this morning was kind of writing about the future of Twitch as a platform in a way. Will more celebrities do this? Will more people try to collaborate with famous people? And I kind of threw this in Discord chat this morning too. I almost suspect that they kind of worked Fortnite devs and Ninja worked something out beforehand, maybe. And then Mao was saying something. Obviously, you have to be transparent with that stuff if you're getting paid for it,
right?
To because you're basically sponsoring the game in a way at that point.
Yeah, I mean, influences are a powerful thing in today's world.
Yeah, so
there was just Rihanna tweeted today badly about Snapchat, and it dropped 5% its stock.
Holy moly!
Yeah.
So yeah, and Twitch just kind of went crazy with Photoshops and stuff like that. So it's begging the question a lot about like where the platform can go. Will it get bigger? A lot of people who didn't even know what Twitch was got exposed to it last night just through Drake tweeting out about him playing a video game online with somebody who people just, I saw some tweets were like, who's this like nobody that no one knows? And of course other people were like, oh, he's like the biggest Twitch streamer and stuff. And so a lot of people are just discovering the platform. So I'm almost curious where you guys think like it can go. Will we get like more celebrity stuff like this? Will more companies like try to kind of like do this in order to like snuff out the rivals? Because this almost seems like it was something Fortnite did to try and like help push them past PUBG. Now that like Mao was telling me earlier, this mode they were playing is a new mode, which I didn't even know because I know very little about Fortnite.
I mean, new-ish. It's been out for a while. It actually, I think, had already started surpassing PUBG.
Yeah. So
like
this is kind of just like
two.
putting your heel to the ground while your foot's on their throat, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, it was sort of like the next big moment in for Twitch, because they have had celebrities like T-Pain. I think got paid for like 2 streams and then still streams occasionally.
Yeah. I was saying I saw Snoop Dogg randomly like streaming Madden one day. Everybody lost it.
Terry Crews jumped on to like on like Overwatch and stuff. I think when it was doing the whole voice thing.
The guy from New Day has like a Twitch channel. He streams on regularly.
Yeah. I know he does stuff on YouTube. From
Is it more YouTube? Okay.
Yeah, he's got a YouTube channel, Up Down Down, that he gets other wrestlers to play video games with him. I haven't seen him streaming yet. Deadmau5 and Steve Aoki, electronic music guys, stream pretty regularly. Like Deadmau5 actually makes his music, like streams him making his music,
which is always cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think? Like the last big? I mean, sorry to interrupt you here, but we were you're kind of like touching on like this is like the next big milestone. What do you think? Like the last big one, was it like them streaming like Power Rangers and stuff like that?
I mean, well, Power Rangers. That was when they took it paid, like, because they started streaming stuff like Bob Ross and Julia Childs, like just TV, for tie-ins to their creative thing. I think when they started getting off of video games is kind of when they really started to expand.
Amazon,
even if video games is still their biggest thing.
Yeah.
Just the fact that it can cater to so many more people now.
Mm-hmm.
And then Power Rangers was their first paid tie-in like that, because it was for the new movie.
Yep. Which we're coming up almost a year on. And that was a thing, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. Well, yeah, I talked about it on this, so it would have been within the last year, obviously. But yeah, and as far as where they can go, man,
they're trying new stuff.
Yeah. More, I mean, as you see more celebrities getting on, maybe. Oh yeah, Freddie Prinze Jr. also streams.
I did not know that. That's funny.
Yeah, it looks like he hasn't streamed in a while since December, but yeah, he will occasionally get on and stream stuff.
Yeah, I know because a lot of people just stream like on Periscope and stuff. Them doing weird IRL. Everyday stuff. So yeah, Twitch has IRL streams now.
Where you literally don't have to be really doing anything. You just sit and talk and stream it now.
Yeah.
Because even before, a rule had to be like, even on creative, you had to be doing something.
Mm-hmm. Now you can just get your little slice of life stuff. If you care more about like the streamer's personality, then you can probably just sit there with them.
I mean, yeah, IRL also has its own issues with like people going out and just being kind of dicks to other people.
Oh yeah,
yeah, but yeah, it is owned by Amazon now, so it's got a lot of money.
Yeah, I know they're trying to. They were doing something with like the NBA D League where you could like restream their games and like commentate over them.
Huh.
For people who were trying to get in like sports broadcasting as kind of like another thing you can do, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know when they're starting that. I feel like I saw, because one of the Twitch streamers I love watching is a big NBA fan, so he was talking about that he thought that idea was awesome. I don't know when they're rolling it out though.
Right.
So I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you could use the platform for. It's just how well does Amazon like think to use it? I guess.
Right. I mean, they've tied it into their Prime pretty heavily. Like, they're giving out free games and stuff in other games. I mean, they're not like great games necessarily. I mean, they did like all the Borderlands Telltale games, I think, or maybe just the first one. But I mean, what is it? The owner of Amazon, Jeff. What is his name? Bezos. Jeff Bezos is now the richest man in the world. So
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, Amazon can just throw heaps of money at Twitch if they want, and I think if they like, I think we might see if how profitable having Drake on was. I could see them definitely paying more and more celebrities to get on here, even if they didn't pay Drake.
Yeah, because if he got 10,000 new subscribers, that's at least like 25,000 for them as well.
Since he's the most popular streamer, he's probably got a really good cut, so it's probably more like
they probably
60-40 or something.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But still,
he has like way more subscribers than literally anyone else.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know if he ran ads.
50,000 subscribers.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
I don't know though. Like, do you think it's a good thing? Like, I guess that would be my next question. If they started doing that with the celebs.
I mean,
you can't do it too much because then it just becomes ubiquitous.
Like, thing with Twitch is like the small, like, I don't know. I guess it's just, for me at least, you know, it's going and seeing the small streamers supporting people to kind of grow and seeing things that you don't normally see. So when the guys that were already watching on everything and listening everything too, suddenly now they're in my games all the time. Me personally, I don't like the idea.
Right, but I think it's the most profitable one thing for them to do.
Yeah. I just mean if we
and I think it's the way. I mean, I'm pretty sure most of the people who watch Twitch are watching the big streamers, like Ninja and Dr. Disrespect and all the guys who get like hundreds of thousands of views.
Yeah.
Some point they were like, you know, a guy who just jumped on and started playing video games. You know,
sure, but I'm just saying that they like. I think the most people that end up watching this just Twitch randomly are always going to be pulled to like the higher viewer counts.
Yeah, that's very much true. Higher viewer counts tend to do pretty well at pulling in new people, even if they only come around for a little bit. It's somebody who tends to go in. If you actually watch high streamer viewer counts, you'll see that it often eventually peaks, hits a point, and then fluctuates. Generally, some of the better ones, though, which goes into it, generally also have like YouTube channels associated with it where they put clips of their stuff, which helps create that that viewer base. So once you have that solidified and you have a high value, people start to come in just to see what you're up to, as opposed to just passing you over because there's like nobody watching.
Yeah, usually the best.
Good.
I was gonna say usually the best ones are the ones like they tend to have a very active. They're already like basically advertising themselves super actively.
Yeah.
And this is just gonna factor into it more so. Like this is just another form of advertisement.
Oh yeah.
Dude, to me, there's a difference in caliber between internet celebrities and, for lack of a better term, normal celebrities.
I mean, I already I love Critical Role, and that's not like they're not like the full blown celebrities, but like they are people working in the entertainment business. Like they're the voices you hear in these video games.
Yeah,
they're public figures, and like I would love to see more like that. Like we were talking about how I'd love to get Steve Bloom on Critical Role.
Yeah,
I'd love to see him on Twitch.
Would be pretty sweet.
I mean, hell, I'd love to see other bigger celebrities do that sort of thing. Like, I guess it depends on what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's all right, Mal. You want to watch Kim Kardashian 24 hours a day. I get it.
God.
Hey, she is very good at advertising.
Yeah, she is. She's fine on her own. She don't need Twitch. Twitch would love to have her, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
No, I want to see Michael B. Jordan do some stuff on Twitch. That's what
Oh
I wanna
yeah,
see.
that would be great.
I want to watch Naruto with Michael B. Jordan, like commentating over it. That's what we need. Just combine both of them, Twitch. We can do the watch-alongs. That would take forever, though. There's so many episodes of that freaking show.
Selected episodes with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, there you go. The first season of Naruto with Michael B. Jordan, or we watched the Chunin exam arc with Michael B. Jordan. That's probably his favorite. I bet that's his favorite arc. It's everybody's favorite arc.
Just needed to end right there.
Oh no, God. Yeah. So I don't know what. I'm just wondering what like the next big thing they will do is.
Who knows?
Yeah, this is why I'm not in advertising though.
Yeah.
I have no idea where they'll go.
I know. It's just interesting to like think about and discuss and kind of like.
Yeah, I just
try to predict. I guess.
Like where you go from like a huge celebrity is I don't know.
Yeah, Drake is one of the biggest ones they could have gotten. It's weird that they got like him next rather than like a more B-list one. But it is Amazon, like you said, he's the richest man in the world. So I mean they got money to throw. It could have been Twitch throwing money. It could have been the Fortnite devs. Could have not been. Maybe he just wanted to stream with Ninja. Maybe they just worked it out.
Yeah, maybe he was very he's got it's all about connections too, and maybe he just had the connections to get to Drake.
Yep.
Or maybe it was random.
It's always a possibility.
Maybe they just met randomly off stream or something.
Fortnite is they did announce that they'll be hosting a celebrity pro-am event at E3 featuring 50 celebrities and 50 pro gamers. They'll be split into teams with each other.
They did something like that for Battlefield, I think, didn't they? It was not good.
Was it not?
At 2 E3s ago, I think it was.
Well, Fortnite's blowing up. It looks funner to watch than Battlefield.
Yeah, I think they need more practice. I think they need more behind the scenes time.
Yeah.
It was not very good when they did it for Battlefield.
Which is probably more spontaneous. I wish they do more stuff like Nintendo World Championships too.
Oh yeah.
Where they got like big Twitch like celebrities, I guess. They didn't
got
have
another
actual
wrestler,
celebrities, but
she was there for some reason.
Yeah. Those were always really fun. When they had like Mario Maker there before Mario Maker came out. It had like some special levels that when the game came out you could download the NWC levels, I believe. And some other fun like Smash and Mario Kart and stuff. That was really fun. I don't know why Nintendo doesn't do that more often.
I don't know.
So I
guess not profitable would be my guess.
I guess so.
Why is this not happening? Because there's no money in it.
Yeah.
Like everything.
Now stop speaking the truth.
I mean, money talks.
Yeah, and the money is talking with this.
Right.
For sure.
Just trying to think like where they could expand. They like you can already basically stream just about anything, that PG-13.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
The only thing I can imagine is like maybe like see, I don't know if that would even be profitable too. I was gonna say like just riffing off the Michael B. Jordan watching Naruto thing, like watching movies with like live commentary track stuff, but I don't know if there's really a market for that.
Expand into some sort of interaction. The way you interact is probably where it'll big thing from on Twitch's side at least will be.
Yeah, because I mean I think the interaction is for the most part what makes the platform like succeed. I guess it's kind of like touching on what Meta said. Like it's what a lot of people like to go into the more new people to Twitch just go into the bigger, more higher view count streams.
I don't even know how you count that as interaction because it's just a stream of nonsense.
The really big ones, sure. Or sometimes you're like, oh, this looks fun, and if the streamer's in like subscriber only mode, then you might want to like pay the $5 to talk in the chat or hang out or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're in slow mode and it's easier to read stuff. I don't know. But and then you think about like I guess the success of stuff like Games Unclick and all that. Maybe they could do more like actual events that they could sponsor themselves.
Yeah, and more the esports become more of a thing. I assume that they're already sponsoring some esports stuff.
Oh, I'm sure. So
Probably.
I'm not into esports myself.
I'm not
but
really either, but
it's getting bigger.
so yeah, I don't know.
It's very interesting to see.
Yeah, it's I find it very fascinating, and the platform as a whole. It's what I did one of my big research. I was a comm major in school, and my big it's not like, I guess, a capstone, for lack of a better term, was actually about Twitch. So and more like the way people interact and kind of like form parasocial relationships with some Twitch streamers and stuff, where you start interacting with them like they're your friends and you know them in real life and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's
so
a very
how they
weird
can expand the interaction
phenomenon.
is interesting to me. Yeah, and some people play that up and use that to market their streams.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, there's like sub only knots or stuff that they'll have, or where it's like, oh, you're like another tier of friend to me, in a way that you can like market that, or do like
yeah, they did come out with
Discord has helped a lot
subs.
with that stuff too. Like there's even now
Yeah.
there's like 24/7 interaction potentially. So I don't know, man. It's it's only going to get bigger in my opinion. It's just I just don't know.
I don't
like
think Twitch is going anywhere soon.
yeah.
I don't think they've hit their peak yet.
Nope. I'm with you there. Oh, all right, everybody. This has been episode 46 of Podcast of Five Rings, your source of enlightenment around video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of Five Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and SoundCloud, and topic by topic, day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. Check us out on social media. We're on Twitter at Podcast5R, Facebook, P5R Podcast, Better Than Them Stream, twitch.tv/PSO Flow. Mao and I have been streaming. Beta joined us last time. Sometimes Tets comes in and sits around with us. There'll probably be more of us when we're actually, it's not just me playing Pokemon. We're at twitch.tv/podcast of Five Rings. So we will talk to you guys next week with some, hopefully some bigger gaming news will come out beyond just Drake playing Fortnite and some other stuff.
Yeah.
And a free Monster Hunter update. So we'll see. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Later.
Later.